Ordained to the priesthood today at age 59, Father Dennis Skowera at first thought he was too old to become a Catholic priest. Having had a military career and a long marriage, he is now ready to contribute in serving the Church through a second vocation. For the last 5 years, Father Dennis Skowera has been studying and living at Pope St. John XXIII National Seminary, a seminary dedicated specifically to men 30 years of age and older who are responding to a call to priestly ministry. Father Skowera hails from Chicopee and was raised in West Springfield. He served in the Air Force for 20 years. Although he was born and raised a Catholic, he said he spent many of his adult years away from the Catholic Church.
I drifted away from the church before I joined the military.
Standing at 6 foot 3 inches tall, Father Skowera says he spent many a day at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida, in the loading, unloading, and maintenance of weapons and their systems on fighter aircrafts, F-16s and F-15s.
I liked F-15s better, and I'll tell you why. Because I didn't hit my head so often. The F-16s were a lot lower. In the first 6 months of working on it, I always would hit my head. And eventually I learned, just like a rat learns.
Father Skowera retired in 2002 from the Air Force and began working at Westover for a federal contractor on the base. Along with serving in the military, he was also married to his wife Pauline for 31 years until her unexpected death.
In 2013, my wife passed away. And 31 years to the day that we got married, on April 2nd, she passed away. And I never imagined that grief was real. I mean, I heard about grief, but when you experience it, it just, where it comes from is beyond me, but it just came. And I remember that that's a life-changing moment. I knew that I had changed when she died, and I didn't like it, but I didn't blame God.
Yet he says his wife's death left him not knowing what the rest of his life would bring. He did have his 3 stepchildren and grandchildren, and his faith was stronger. He was working toward a degree in sacred theology from Catholic Distance University, also serving as a Eucharistic minister and lector at Sacred Heart Parish in Springfield. Father Skowera attributes his strengthened and renewed faith to prayer.
Probably in the mid to late 90s, I started coming back to the church. And I remember that pretty much, whether it was from, I believe it was from prayer, my wife praying, and other people, because we would go to ecumenical prayer sessions, and I remember people praying, talking about Our Lady, which was, believe it or not, was very relatively new to me in that regard.
Several months following his wife's passing, Father Skowera says he was sitting in his office at Westover when his good friend and boss, James Carey, came in with a question.
Dennis, I need to ask you something. Have you ever thought about becoming a priest? You know, the Catholic Church needs priests.
The question took him by surprise, he says, initially, but that he had considered the priesthood and thought he was too old. His friend urged him to call the vocations office of the Diocese of Springfield. He then learned of this seminary specifically for delayed vocations, entering into pre-theology 5 years ago. Over the past year, he has been serving on the weekends at St. Michael's Church in East Longmeadow. His time in the seminary, he says, has been a time filled with personal and spiritual growth.
You hear about the saints and how they are able to endure amazing things, and even to the point of being killed. And I can honestly understand, not that I could do it by far shot, but you know, when you trust God, somehow He works it out.
In the seminary chapel, Father Skowera says he would often pray about how he would pursue his vocation. He had been reading and thinking about how he had grown in his love for God.
Whatever's coming up for me, I'm not nervous about it. I'm excited, yes, but I'm not nervous because I know he's going to be there with me the whole time.
And Father Skowera knows his wife Pauline is praying for him as well.
And I pray to her quite often. And I thank her. And I think she has a lot to do with, because at first, when she first passed, there was a lot of hard feelings, things that I regretted. But those things have healed. And the love for my wife is still there. And I don't think it's ever going to go away. It's always going to be there. And so she's a big part of my ministry. And I think she would say, good job. I hope she would, or she don't let it go to your head. But, keep it up.
Father Skowera will celebrate his first Mass of Thanksgiving tomorrow, June 2nd at 11:30 a.m. at St. Michael's Church in East Longmeadow.